Hi, I am Jenny. I'm a coach, an author, and an advocate for parents who are determined to raise emotionally healthy kids after separation or divorce. So, you're going to be watching a reading from my book, Healing Without Words, a guide designed to help you communicate with your ex without causing emotional fallout for your children. Now, whether you're dealing with high conflict co parenting, being misunderstood, or simply trying to stay calm in the chaos, this space is for you. So, let's dive in and explore how the right words can protect your child's peace and your own. And I would say I'm probably going to fluff some words. I'm probably going to misspeak some words. I'm just human and I don't do editing because it's too complicated. So this is the book, Healing Without Words. Healing Through Words. So chapter 7 is boundaries, not battles. So setting boundaries is one of the most important and misunderstood parts of co-parenting. Many people associate boundaries with control, punishment, or defensiveness. But in reality, boundaries are about clarity, safety, and self respect. So boundaries are not walls, they are doors. And you get to decide what comes through, how often, and in what form. The goal is not to control your ex, it's to protect your peace and create consistency for your child. So let's look at why boundaries matter in co parenting. So without boundaries, co-parenting can feel like emotional chaos. You may find yourself constantly reacting, constantly accommodating the other party, and constantly questioning your decisions. But boundaries are what brings you structure, because this is an otherwise unpredictable situation. Now, they also teach your child really, really important life lessons. It teaches your child that they are allowed to protect their time, their energy, and their emotional space. That conflict does not have to mean access to all parts of yourself, and that saying no can be an act of love. Turning page, and can't turn the page, here we go. It also teaches your child that calm strength matters more than loud control. So boundaries model healthy emotional regulation. When your child sees you hold a boundary without escalating, they learn that it's possible to stay firm and respectful even when other people aren't. So there are different types of boundaries that you can consider. So the first one would be communication boundaries: when, how, and about what you will communicate. So it could be, I will only respond to messages related to parenting. I check and reply to messages once per day. I won't engage in emotional conversations by text. So that's you setting a boundary when the other party is sending you communications by text, by email, etc., that are irrelevant to co-parenting. They're just there to confuse, disturb you, and to basically rile you up again. So time boundaries. So you might need to clarify your availability and scheduling, or the child's availability and scheduling. So it could be that you need to send a message saying drop offs are at 10 a.m. unless we've agreed otherwise in advance. Or I'm not available for last minute changes unless it's an emergency. There's also emotional boundaries where you can choose not to engage in drama, blame, or guilt. So things like, I won't respond to personal attacks or inflammatory comments. I'm not responsible for how you feel about my decisions. Or it could be physical boundaries. So things like deciding on logistics for handovers. Let's do drop-offs at school to reduce tension and keep things neutral. I prefer not to enter each other's homes during transitions. Now, sometimes when you're trying to set a boundary, it can feel like it's a war, but it doesn't have to be. So this is how you can set a boundary without starting a war, because they don't have to be loud or dramatic. In fact, the most effective boundaries are quiet, consistent, and enforced without emotion. So here's how. So you need to be clear and concise. So avoid over-explaining. The more words, the more room for argument. Use I statements like, I'm not available to discuss this further today, or I need communication to stay on topic. Don't argue the boundary. You cannot force understanding. You can only enforce consistency. Follow through. A boundary without follow through is a suggestion, not a boundary. So then you've got to think about, what if they push back? So they might. They might well, and pretty much they will until they get used to them. So if your previous dynamic involved giving in, over explaining, or taking on emotional labor, you're going to need to expect some resistance. It does not mean that the boundary is wrong. It just means it's working. So when somebody is used to having access to your time, your energy, or your emotions, boundaries feel like you're depriving them. But that discomfort is not yours to fix. It's not your problem. So some of the common pushbacks that you might hear will be, you're being difficult, or this isn't about the kids, it's about you, or why can't you just be flexible, or you've changed, you used to be easier to talk to. And your calm, repeated response can be things like, this is what works best for our child. I'm keeping communication focused on parenting. I'm not available to continue this conversation. I'm willing to communicate when the conversation stays respectful. Because boundaries are a gift to your child. Boundaries don't just protect you, they protect your child from emotional spillover. So when you have clear systems, expectations, and emotional limits, your child feels safer. They know what to expect, and they know that their parent is grounded. This does not mean cutting off communication or being inflexible. It means choosing clarity over chaos and predictability over provocation, intentionality over impulsiveness. When you hold a boundary, you are giving your child the gift of stability. You are showing them that peace is something we create even when others do not help us to protect it. And you are also modeling self-worth. You're showing them that emotional energy is sacred and that healthy love respects space, clarity, and calm. In the next chapter, we're going to be exploring how to recover after conflict, because even with the best boundaries in the world, blow-ups can happen. And when they do, what matters most is how you repair and how you respond to that. So I'm really excited to go to that next chapter with you, which will be next week. I'm not sure of the day yet, but it will be one day next week. But I hope that today's excerpt spoke to you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss future readings and real world strategies. You are not alone in this. Sometimes we feel very alone. I've helped thousands of parents across the globe shift the narrative, protect their kids, and regain control of their lives. If you want to go deeper, head to www.coparentingwithoutconflict.com to explore coaching resources and support made just for you. So keep speaking with intention, and remember, your voice helps shape your child's world. So thank you for being with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week.